Friday the 13th. My dad, growing up, always said it was Good Friday. Never called Friday the 13th negative, but it's Friday the 13th. But I would say Thursday the 12th was kind of a jacked up day for me.
What happened?
So I've been telling you guys for months that I'm going to get a new cell phone service, right?
Oh,
for
yeah.
months.
Yes, you were serving everyone that called into the show.
Right. Because, oh my God, I think I'm going to sneeze. Saying months made my nose vibrate. Now it's going to make me months. So I had a company phone like for my entire life, right? Company phone. And now that the deal with the radio station and AT&T is gone. So they were like, AT&T was like, okay, you got to find a new company. So I've been every time we take calls and they have a good cell phone signal, I'm like, hey, who's your provider? But two of my kids are on AT&T already. So I couldn't they were on, I didn't want to pay two different companies. So the AT&T people were cool enough to say, all right, we can do something and we can switch all of you over on one thing. So that was going to happen at some point, and they'd been doing it, trying to flip it over like a month ago. And long story short, they decided to flip everything over yesterday. So yesterday they flipped my phone from iHeart account to a Johnjay Van S account. And in doing so, my phone only took calls. I could only make a phone call. I couldn't text. I couldn't only
that's annoying.
Only if I had Wi-Fi. If I had Wi-Fi, is the only time my phone would work. And actually, it's still that way. I still can't do anything. So if only
Why does this always happen to you?
I know, it's miserable. You don't realize how much you use your phone other than making phone calls. Because if I'm at a red light, I grab my phone. I go, I'll look at Snapchat. I'll look at Instagram. I'll look at whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And texting people, like when you text someone on an iPhone from an iPhone, you know how it's blue?
Mm-hmm.
It's not blue. When it's when you don't, and it'd be green, and then all of a sudden I'd have this little alert with an exclamation point. It won't go through. And I'm like, what? What's going on? So I call my wife, and she's like, oh, I'm at AT&T. They're switching everything over. I'm like, okay. And then she'd call me, hey, it's all done. Everything should be working fine. And I'm in the building that has Wi-Fi. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's working great. Then when I left there, it's not working.
Oh no!
So, and I'm going to Idaho today. We got a big Love Pup Family Fest. It's that by itself is blowing my mind that we have the first appearance. I have my first event in a year and a half with COVID. I'm doing that today at 5:00, and I don't know what to do. But what's funny is, what do you mean you don't know what to do? You can't make a phone call? You know, I can use my phone as a phone. You know what I mean?
But you've not used your phone, and I know this. You personally don't use your phone as a phone ever.
I don't like to make phone calls. Like yesterday, I had to meet this guy at my son's basketball, and he goes, "I'll text you when I get there." And I'm like, "Oh, you can't. My phone's not working. Text." And he goes, "Well, do you want me to call you when I get here?" And I'm like, what time are you going to get here? He goes, 3:30. I go, I'll just come outside at 2:20. I'd rather go outside the parking lot and wait 10 minutes than have him call me when he gets there. It's so weird. Anyway.
When's that? Does it get fixed today? You need that.
I'm going to have to hit the AT&T store when I get off the air today and see if they can somehow figure it out, because it's really frustrating.
That's the data plan part, right? Where the texting and all that.
I'm supposed to have unlimited data, and it's not working.
Maybe you signed up for limited data.
Very limited, like none.
Okay, so let me tell you. So yesterday, I get home, and I can't wait to watch the rest of my Luke Bryan documentary, right? So I turn on Amazon Prime, and there's this huge thing. You know how they have that huge bar across the newest show they're promoting or whatever?
Yeah.
And it's for this movie called Jolt. Have you seen the previews for it?
No.
Me neither. But I look at it, and it stars Kate Beckinsale.
Love her.
She's beautiful. You guys know who she is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's always in the entertainment news, right?
Well, she was dating what's-his-face?
Who?
Ariana Grande's ex.
Pete
for a while.
Davidson.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so
right.
weird.
Yeah, that
And
was
she's
weird.
beautiful. So I'm like, let me see what this is about. I start watching this movie, you guys. It is nutso. She plays a woman, and it starts off when she's a girl that has a disorder. She's angry. She gets angry. Like when she's a little kid, she gets angry at a birthday party, and so she smashes a cake in a kid's face. She gets angry in elementary school at a kid, and she takes a bat and beats the hell out of him. She has this angry disorder. They have a name for it. She goes to the shrinks and stuff, and she cannot control her anger. So they put her in a mental institution as a kid, right? And then she gets so angry out of the mental institution, they give her meds, everything, nothing works. She ends up going in the military. She can't control her anger. She ends up beating everybody up in the military. She gets out of the military. They put her in. She takes up all these different hobbies to see if they could figure out how to control her anger. She learns how to shoot a gun. She does extreme sports. She does mountain climbing. She does everything. So what she actually is doing is trained herself because of this anger issues to become like a ninja almost, right? So now she meets this psychiatrist that gives her this electrical jolt. She has to wear this harness on her body. And whenever she gets angry, she presses this button that shocks her so she calms down. Well, she meets this guy, and the guy she goes on 3 dates with the guy, and then the guy's murdered. So now she's looking for the people that murdered the guy, and she takes off the harness and starts killing everybody.
Yes.
Right? It's like a John Wick, I think. Because Jake, my son, walked in, and I go, look at this. He's like, it's just like John Wick. And I go, but this is amazing. So at one point, she's being chased through a hospital, and she goes through the nursery where all the babies are. You know how the babies are all in a little, you see them all wrapped up like that?
Yeah.
And they pull a gun on her, and the cops pull a gun on her. And she's like, all right, chill out. She starts taking babies and throwing them at the cops.
The hell?
The cops are catching the babies.
Oh
so
my gosh.
she takes off running. It's like a fun, crazy, violent movie.
fun.
You know what I mean? And there's a lot of famous people in it. Susan Sarandon, what's her name? Laverne Cox from the prison movie. What was that prison movie?
Yeah, Orange is the New Black.
Yeah. It's anyway, I'm almost all the way through with it. It's really good. Because there's like mob ties in it and all this stuff.
Sounds like a fun weekend plan.